Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/Surviving Infidelity, where OP has the opportunity to completely ruin the affair partner. Let's begin. I found out my wife has been having an affair for at least 2 months on Valentine's Day. Posted by Reddit user PriceJacama9038.
She has been acting different for a while now, skittish, attached to her phone, long gaps between the time she leaves work and the time she gets home. I had a feeling, but she would gaslight me anytime I questioned something strange as by saying that I was acting like she was up to something and it makes her feel bad. I would then write it off to my overthinking and push forward. This will be over soon, I tell myself. She graduates respiratory therapy school in April. I saw this as the finish line to the weird behavior and attitude. Fast forward to Valentine's Day. I treated her to a shopping spree and dinner. Work has been going very well lately, so I've found a new hobby in spoiling her with clothes and shoes. Once we get home, I give her a full body massage and she falls asleep. As I was preparing to go to bed, I have the sudden urge to go through her phone. And on Instagram, I found that she has been emotionally and sexually involved with a coworker in the hospital and in the hospital parking garage. He has been trying to cut it off. She has been chasing him, telling him that she misses him. It shattered me. She was speaking to him like she used to speak to me, using my nicknames, my memes. She said they only had penetration sex once and it lasted 1 minute because it was in a closet and they got nervous. Other times it was other actions. We have been married for 1.5 years. Part of me wants to ruin her, report her to her job, have her fired and kicked out of her RT program. Other part of me wants to try to understand and fix it. I love her so much and have centered my everything around her. But I can't stop thinking about it. The messages, the lies, visualizing her getting railed out in a closet. I need guidance. Is being so early in our marriage a sign that she never loved me? Or those that mean that there is plenty of life left to figure this out?
OP, you should leave. She's always gonna be unsatisfied in the relationship and caught up in the affair fog and the excitement of a new relationship. It only took her 1.5 years for her to cheat into your marriage, and I guarantee you, this was not the first time. She didn't even confess. You had to find out for yourself. I would start looking at options and give her the divorce papers. You sound like an amazing partner, and it sounds like she doesn't deserve you. You're showering her with affection and attention, and she's still looking elsewhere. For what? A quickie in the closet? She obviously isn't committed to the marriage the same way you are. Speak to a lawyer as soon as you can, OP. They can get you divorce papers. And if this affair partner has a position of power over your wife, I'd report him. Is he in a relationship? If he is, tell the significant other too. Admitting to sex once is the very minimum that she knew you would believe. It's most likely far, far worse. Get an STD test as soon as possible. Our second story is from r/ProRevenge. Don't mess with an engineer. Posted by Reddit user Ocklemon.
I worked for a company that provides specialized equipment used in manufacturing. To protect my anonymity, I'll have to be vague about what exactly this machine does. During my time working in this field, I got to know many clients who would need these machines installed and serviced. One of these customers we'll call Jake. I later left the company to go for a different job, but Jake apparently kept my number. One afternoon, I got a call from Jake that they wanted a new unit installed and another unit needed maintenance and wanted to know if I was available. I let him know that I left the company, but that I could pass him on to someone who could help. He tells me he'll pay twice my current rate to install the unit over the weekend. He lets me know that the company has increased the rates for installation and the company just can't afford it. The instructions they sent over just aren't clear enough and their engineers are scratching their heads trying to figure it out. He begs me to consider it and I agree. For more context, installing this unit can take a good few hours or up to a day on your own. The company gives you 2 options. You can either pay for an engineer to come and install it or you can save money. And they will send instructions so the customer's own engineers can install it. The instructions aren't easy to follow and it's company policy that if someone has started to install the equipment, the supplier wouldn't get involved since they couldn't verify that any of the pieces were broken. This will be important later. I drive down on the weekend and they show me the boxes of equipment. I set to work and I make good progress installing the unit. Around 6 hours in and I'm stopped by Jake, who greets me. I let him know I'm nearly finished and he tells me sorry, but they just don't have the budget to pay you. He understands my frustration, but his engineers can take it from here. To say I was frustrated was an understatement. I wanted revenge. There's a small button inside the unit that changes the unit into test mode. This is done to perform maintenance on the unit, but it's impossible to configure the unit with this button press. It's only possible to reach this button using a pin, so it's not easily pressed during installation. Because of this, the installation instructions don't mention it. There's no real way of telling the equipment is in test mode, it just won't work normally. I think you can guess where this is going. I click the button, collect my things and leave. Monday morning I get a call from Jake. I declined. I knew my old company wouldn't get involved since I already started installing the unit. I knew his engineers would never figure it out. I just had to let him stew. A few days later, with many missed calls, I finally pick up. Jake is furious. He asks me where the hell I've been and why I haven't been picking up the phone. He tells me they can't figure it out how to configure the machine and they need my help. I tell him, why is this my problem? You won't pay me. He told me he was sorry and they would work something out if I could get there as soon as possible. I told him, oh no, you're going to pay me £7,000 up front before I do anything. I'd never felt this powerful before. He screamed at me for a bit and hung up. He called back a day later after saying he's sorry for how he acted and said that if I could come fix it he would pay me in a totally defeated tone. He tried to fight it saying he'll pay when I was done, but I was having none of it. After a bit of back and forth, he agrees to pay me. The money hit my account and I came in the next day. The look of confusion over his face when I took out a pen and changed the unit from test mode was priceless. It was even more priceless seeing his reaction to me packing up my tools and leaving after only 20 minutes of configuring. Easiest £7,000 I'd ever made. Don't try to mess with a professional problem solver.
In the comment section, Reddit user Eternally Lost shared this epic story.
Comment: I remember a builder decided not to pay his crews on a house he was building. At first, the foreman of each crew put a lien on the house, about 8 guys. Then each and every worker put a lien on the house, about 70 guys. So when the buyer found out there were nearly 80 liens on the house, he backed out of the purchase. Then the builder had to track down every one of them before he could sell the house. Problem being, a lot of those guys who didn't get paid moved on to other crews, other professions, even other states. It was years before the builder could clear all the liens before he could sell the house, and he had to pay taxes on it the whole time.
And now for today's final story. My neighbors kept parking in our lot. I froze them out. Posted by Reddit user Bright Rick.
This happened around 20 years ago. Our family owned 2 apartment buildings, 3 units each. We lived in 2 of them, rented out the other 4. There's nothing but these 3 flats lining both sides of the road for about a mile. Not all have parking. On the side streets are houses and very little street parking. We had more land than most of these units since it was also our home. So we had parking for around 16 cars. Everything was fine for literally decades. Then cars started appearing in our parking lot that were not our tenants. I blocked one in one day. Went outside to see this asshole drove through our bushes and across the yard to get out. I called the cops, nothing they could do. So I called a tow company and had them put up signs. We'd have to call them to have a car towed. The signs seemed to work. No more random cars. Until New Year's Eve one year. I arrive home and every space is filled. There are even cars on the street blocking in the other cars. I'm beyond pissed. I call the tow company. They can't do anything for a few hours because they are so busy. We're in the Chicago suburbs. It's below 0 out. I have an idea. I dig out the lawn sprinklers and hoses. I run one hose inside to the laundry room faucet and turn on the hot water. This way the hose and sprinklers won't ice up. But the cars and ground sure did. 3 sprinklers moved every half hour or so for almost 5 hours. Every car. Every square inch of the parking lot, the street by the cars, encased in ice. I made it a point to spray ice in the locks between the window seals and glass. In the grills, put away the sprinklers and hoses, went to bed. 4 a.m., furious pounding on the doors, doorbells ringing non-stop. We just smiled and called the cops. Waited until they arrived and went outside. Cops were holding back laughter. These people were told to park here by their friend who owned an apartment several buildings away. The same idiot who drove over our bushes. I pointed to the tow sign and told the people to move their cars or get towed. In our town, cops can ticket on private property with the owner's permission. So all cars were ticketed. They were also towed, since nobody could get in their vehicle. Wish we had it on video.
Now I'll be honest. I live in a tropical country, so I don't really get the icing the car with the sprinkler part. I'm assuming that the temperatures are so cold that it would create a thick layer of ice encasing the cars. Yeah? If that's the case, that is both evil and fucking hilarious. I wish there were some photos, OP. Here in my country, assholes like these gets their car scratched, side mirrors broken, and their tires punctured. And if they ever retaliate, the friendly neighborhood aunts and uncles are just gonna beat their asses up. Well done, man. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my YouTube channel for you to watch absolutely free. So consider clicking that super thanks just below the video title, or you can use my PayPal in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, make sure to subscribe to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.